So, Mark, did you see that video from Flamingo's Go Pool? The watercolor has changed a little bit since the last time we talked about this place.
One, how many people are in there? It's like sardines in a can, the least relaxing environment ever. Maybe it's a fun party environment, but there was enough people to turn the water pea colored. I mean, have you ever seen that shade of color in a pool?
It's Vegas blue. I don't know. So on the last show, we ended with the gaming revenue, and just after we recorded, all of the visitor stats came out, and boy, did an explosion happen once those did, because the national media really took a hold of what happened. And I did include the numbers on the visuals for the last show, but we will talk about them here. But let's start with this. One guy on Twitter said, we're one day away from comparing the fall of Vegas to the fall of Rome. And that's what it seemed like, because first off, nobody talked about the fact that the gaming numbers were basically flat. All they cared about was that visitors were off 11.3% in June.
We talked about this a bit last week. It doesn't surprise me a ton. One, it's a softer summer, but two, we normally see summers be a bit soft, and they hadn't been the last couple of years. So we're coming off of record highs. Now I think things are normalizing a bit. People are starting to pay attention to their money a little bit more. Maybe they're in debt back to when they weren't for a little bit. I don't know, but I think all of that plays into it. Also, revenge travel has dropped off. So it doesn't surprise me. And this is lower. When we were talking, we were thinking 20% is what that other company was saying. So this is kind of in the middle. So I don't think it's terrible. The sky's not falling, but it definitely isn't great. And I don't think it's going to be better the next few months.
Yeah, the big numbers to look at, obviously visitor volume fell 11.3%. Some of that is because of conventions that didn't happen this year that happened last year, but the average daily rate fell 6.6%, and the revenue per available room, which is the metric that I like to look at the most, fell 13.8%. This is a bad one because this accounts for revenue for every single room in the city, whether it's full or empty, and to lose almost 14% down to 128.78. Now, I did go back and look at some of the numbers for the past few years for June to see. And if we go all the way back to June 2019, we had 3.6 million visitors. And then obviously 2021 fell to just under 3 million. But if you look at this number, last year, just under 3.5 million, this year, just under 3.1, we're almost closer to 2021, well below 2019. So a lot of that is bad news. And I'll talk about REVPar, how that's changed over the years, which is good news. But the more I dive into this does look pretty bad. And it does look like we are falling behind where this recovery sort of was supposed to be. I don't know. It's all over the place.
Yeah, that is crazy, because I would have guessed that we were still above 2019 visitor number wise. I would assume RevPar is still up there just because of inflation and everything else, and it's driven prices up. So even though it's down from last year, I would assume that it's up, and you can correct me there. But to hear that we're like 500,000 people off of 2019 is insane.
So yeah, let's look at RevPar. 2019 RevPar average was 117.90 for the whole year. This year to date, 151.90. So from 117 up to 151, meaning that they are still making significantly more per room than they did back in 2019. That's good news for the revenue side. But I want to talk about how the media, everybody's looking to Las Vegas now, and this has become an international sort of story. And people are looking to Vegas to say, is the economy crashing? Is this a wider indicator? Because it has been in the past. And I don't see anything here. Again, the gaming revenue was even, meaning that even with all these less visitors, that they still gambled the same amount. And that is a good sign. It's not good that, of course, you want the same amount of visitors you had before, but it's not like the floor fell out and that everybody all of a sudden overnight decided to hate Las Vegas.
I've always been curious, and I know we've never been able to nail this down, if RevPar includes comps, like does it include comp rooms, does it include food comps and all that stuff? Do they put it in like the dollar value it would have been if they would have rented out the room, or does that count nothing against this? Because if it counts nothing against this, I could see the drop being, we've talked about how their offers are better. They're trying to get people out there. And I know we're going to talk about Resorts World doing weird ones later on in the show, but that could be kind of driving this. Like they're bringing the gamblers back out there at no cost to, no RevPar, let's say, or a much lower one because they're subsidizing it with these comps, and then they're gambling still. So that's like propping it up a little bit. Maybe they're leaning in a little more to the gamblers where they've strayed away and said, hey, we don't need you. We're going to bring in people that are going to go to clubs, go out to dinner, go to these shows. But if REVPar is fictitious numbers because they include that, like, hey, this person would have paid $200 if we didn't give them a free room, then this is all crap.
Yeah. Oh, so I guess just in another way to go here, some of the worst takes I've seen this week on the Las Vegas slowdown. Here's one. Vegas isn't dying because of the economy. It's dying because it's an unwalkable hell that's designed to trap you in casinos. And then another one. I keep seeing people say an empty Las Vegas is a harbinger of a U.S. recession. No, an empty Las Vegas is a harbinger of Las Vegas and casinos being a dying boomer phenomenon. Flashy, loud, tacky, crowded, and inauthentic. Young generations don't want it. I don't think that holds up. Young generations do want the casinos. They've evolved heavily to cater towards younger generations. And are these people not forgetting? Look at all the numbers for the last few years. What, so Las Vegas just all of a sudden they died? Everybody turned around and hated it? No, it's been records and records, and now we're down from a record. And now you're saying everybody's turned their back on the city. It just makes no sense. And it's always frustrating when this stuff goes to people who don't normally pay attention to it.
Yeah, I would think there's some truth in the people that were saying, like, hey, gambling's more prevalent everywhere else. You don't need to go to Vegas to do it. It's not a special, especially in the sports betting realm. And we see that, but we see influencers that are young that are big into gambling. So I do think that young people are into it or do like to go to Vegas, all of that stuff. But I do think it's less of a necessity. Like, you know, you used to have to go for March Madness to make bets. You don't have to do that anymore. You can go to like 30 states and do a similar experience in a random bar and just betting on your phone. Things like that have opened up. So that hurts Vegas. And that's kind of why they've leaned into these other things. But I don't think that's why people aren't going. If that was the truth, if it was just like people that say everything's overpriced, it's too expensive, then we would see the numbers downtown going up because people would still go to Vegas, but they would stay outskirts or they would stay on Fremont for the deals. And we're not seeing that. Like Fremont was down even more, I think, compared to the Strip in some sections. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
And if anybody's not coming to Vegas, it's the boomers who are not coming to Vegas. They're the ones going to the local casino, and the kids are coming to Vegas for the shows and the sports and all of that stuff. And that's where we're hurting. I mischaracterized one of the slides on the last show from the Red Rock Resorts thing. What I said stood up about high limit gaming, but they were talking about high margin and how the vast majority of their business comes from the casino on that slide. And I mistook what I said about it. But that's why they're doing so well, Red Rock Resorts, because the gambling is doing okay. These strip casinos and all the other casinos, they rely heavily on all the other stuff. And then when people are spending less on restaurants and food and all of the other stuff, then they suffer because less of their proportion of revenue comes from the casino. So yeah, it's a fascinating time in Las Vegas, but it's a reminder that Las Vegas is like the center of the universe because everybody's talking about it.
I think we're going to see a shift back to the gambler in the next couple years. I do think that they're going to start coming out with better offers, trying to revamp their programs a little bit or add these little bells and whistles. I think they're going to try to draw those people back because that's a guaranteed stream. Like if you get gamblers out there, they're going to gamble. If you get regular people out there, you don't know if they're really going to go to the shows or they're just going to hang out at the pool. Are they going to have room parties? Like I feel like gamblers are the stable, and we've seen this with the local casinos, and they need to lead into bringing locals into the Strip and going after them. They've shunned them for so many years that somebody needs to open their doors and just be like, please, here's the greatest deals ever. We want all the locals to come here and hang out and gamble. And, you know, whoever figures that out will do well.
His name is Michael Gahn.
Yeah, I'm talking about Strip.
And the place is called the South Point.
I'm talking about the big Caesars, MGM, those types. But yeah, South. I don't know why none of the. Take one of your higher ups from the Strip casinos down to South Point on a Tuesday night and see how packed it is, and then go, wow, what the heck are we doing wrong?
There wouldn't be enough activations all over the place for the modern corporate C-suite executive at South Point. All right, let's reset here. Let's go back to 2008. The program is Total Rewards from Caesars. And here's a commercial just showing you. It's funny how a commercial from 2008 could be so nostalgic, especially in 2025 with all the changes and stuff. But it also makes me feel old that this commercial felt very, very nostalgic.
This was my favorite era of Vegas, the like 2008 to 2012. That little era where we're coming, you know, dealing with a recession, all that stuff. And people were really giving out the deals. The service was top notch. Everybody was just thankful that you came and spent some money there. It was really, it's completely different than it is now in that respect. But I do miss Total Rewards. The program, once they switched to Caesars Reward, has just been a complete downward spiral.
Fun fact, I still go to totalrewards.com whenever I'm trying to go to Caesars to book something. It's just in my mind, it's easy to do. So yeah, it was a
Just like
great point.
calling
And
the
they,
Hotel Bally's.
yeah, why not? I mean, they were one of the first loyalty programs, right? And the first in the casino space to really drive things forward to where they are today. And you see this in the commercial where she's talking about redeeming points for flights and for all kinds of different comps. And that was really sort of the crux of it. And I love the fact that she stayed in a suite at the Rio. Of all the places they could have put her for this commercial, it was Rio, showing at one point this company actually cared about that property.
Yeah, that is crazy when you think about it. It's not, it's off the strip. The rooms were big, but they were never like the fanciest. But they put it as a premier type of destination, which is kind of cool.
So staying on the topic, some bad news now for Caesars. Well, Jeremy Ross on Twitter, he shared this. He's a bartender, I think at Harrah's, but at one of their properties. And he talked about that prices of liquor are going down. And basically they went down from $1, $2 to $4, depending on the drink. So we're seeing good news here. Price of liquor maybe going down. The bad news is that they redid the comping policy. It's funny how he starts good news, bad news. This is really bad news, actually. And unless you're a Diamond Elite or higher, you can't get any good liquors anymore. There are going to be a bunch of angry Diamond and Diamond Plus members when they can't get alcohol like Kettle, Jack, or Bacardi comped at the bars on the floor. So you're a Diamond member with Caesars and you cannot get a Bacardi on the floor? That's insane. This has gotten out of hand. What the hell are they doing?
Yeah, what are we talking about? Bacardi wholesale? What is it, like $12 a bottle? $10? 15?
Cheaper probably, because it's like that in the store. It's like $12.
Yeah, so we're this is insane. Like your best customers, that kind of mid-tier. I know they want to focus on the high-end gamblers and all that stuff, but that mid-tier that gives you like all their disposable income and gets you to that Diamond or the Diamond Plus level and comes in and really like is your bread and butter. Like, do not disparage your bread and butter. That's the guaranteed people that come out all the time. The high rollers might come out a couple times a year, but these people are the ones that are going to come there, once a month type of things, or the locals that will go down to the strip and stuff, and you're going to tick all of them off. It's just stupid. Over what costs you $1.50 to make.
He blames it on all of the 5x and 10x tier multipliers, basically saying they have too many elites. Yeah. But Diamond Plus, like Diamond, we know that Diamond, it used to be something, right? And it's not much of anything anymore. It's still something, but they've cut it away so much over the years and it made it much easier to get. I don't know. But if I went up and ordered a Bacardi Diet or something like that, and I was a loyal gambler and I was Diamond Plus status with them and they told me no,
Bacardi,
I would go somewhere. There's
freaking Bacardi.
Yeah. And Jack is not Jack is a premium, a Jack and Coke. That's like a normal thing.
What do they have on the shelf that's below that? I would be ashamed to have that in a casino bar, that there's something below Bacardi. They have no sticker on it. It's just a clear bottle. It comes out of a gun.
It's in a box, Mark.
Yeah.
It comes in a box. So let's talk food for a second. Starting with Carversteak, I guess they launched this $125 prefix menu for the Millennium for the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere, it looks like. And shout out to Rachel who tagged me on Twitter for this. And she kind of looked at it and did some math, or as they say in the UK, maths, and it doesn't add up because everything you could order if you put the combination of these would come to under $125. There's only one combination where I think if you get the steak and do it exactly the same right way with the Wagyu skewers and stuff, where you could actually save just a couple bucks. So just a reminder, if you see a prefix menu, always look at the regular menu to see if you're saving anything.
Yeah, this is insane. I didn't think when I looked at it before, we're even reading her breakdown, which she did a great job. I'm like, there's nothing here that I think is worth $125 when you're picking one of these things. Like one option is a Caesar salad. Like what are we doing here? That's a crazy price for this. And I get usually when you have a menu like this for an event, it's to make it easier on the restaurant. They can streamline things a bit. They know a majority of people coming in are going to order some of these things. They can prep it a little bit better, all that stuff. So you would think it'd be a discount at that point because you're making things easier on them. They're going to have less waste. It's going to be a faster process. You can churn through people more, turn tables quicker. So to gouge them when you're you're doing something that kind of helps yourself out is just double whammy.
Yeah, the Caesar salad is like $22 or something when I looked at the regular menu, something in that like that. It's no, it's like, but that's not
And
abnormal.
you
Like
know
we're
you're
seeing
getting a
20 plus
side
dollar.
Caesar with this, not a full Caesar.
Yeah, but it's normal. Like when have Caesar salads become $24? We're literally talking about lettuce, a few croutons, and some cheese. We're not talking chicken Caesar salad here. And this is like all the restaurants. I've seen it a lot of steakhouses in Vegas. $20 is the cheapest you're gonna get. It's not table side either, like at
Yeah.
Golden Steer. It's just a little tiny bowl for 20 something dollars.
Yeah, it cost them what, $1.75 to make, $2.
Oh, it can't even be that with those materials.
I guess it depends. Are they making homemade croutons off of like old bread that was going to go bad anyway, so there's no cost? And then are they making the dressing from scratch? I don't know. The cheese is the most expensive thing.
Well, speaking of cheese, let's talk pizza bargain over at New York at Syracuse. Pizza is popular with some people. I never really cared for it too much. It's not bad, but $11.95 for a Busch beer and a pizza slice, is that a deal? It was shared as a deal. I think in 2025 on the Las Vegas Strip, I will officially declare it a deal.
It's like a almost deal. I don't know. The pizza looks kind of like the stuff you get at like the old 99-cent pizza joints in New York City, which I don't have a problem with. Like if I'm walking by, I'll grab one real quick. I think some of them are like $1.25 now or whatever. It's a bigger slice. So I guess you could say it's like almost two slices there and then a beer. It's not a bad deal. It's not a great deal. I'm surprised a casino has Busch on tap. I give them props for that.
You know, I wanted to share it because I had this thought when I first saw it. I was like, that's not a deal. Wait, that is a deal. It's like so close. They got it perfect.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that you should probably do it. Last thing on restaurant related things, Hogs and Heifers. We talked about them closing over there near downtown Grand. Kind of got kicked out, or it seemed like that. Their lease was up, whatever. Well, they have announced where they're moving to, and this happened a couple weeks ago. 307 to 319 Main Street. This is two different lots, I guess, that they're going to put together, build a new venue. This is essentially across the street from Plaza's parking garage for people kind of doing it. It keeps you a little bit away from Fremont Street. I think this is a good location. Glad for all of the fans. I've never been in there, but I heard it's a rough, rowdy, fun place.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot, and then you're not like right next to a hotel room where people are going to complain about the noise like they would at their old location. I still wonder, like, do you think downtown Grand's going to regret pushing them out? I know they're trying to make a sale and all of that, but you have a 20-year tenant. That's hard to come by these days. Unless they weren't paying their bills timely or they were always a pain in the butt, like on the back end of stuff where they're requesting you to fix things or something along those lines. Like I could see something going in there and churning over time and time again. I mean, you're not on the Fremont Street experience. You're a little bit off. It's going to be tough to find something that could be successful for 20 years in that space.
And while I don't have it on the rundown, downtown Grand is still rumored to maybe be going into bankruptcy, or that there's been some rumors this week that they're not paying bills. So there's probably more to develop from there. I don't have any inside information, but the future of that property is they tried to sell it. It didn't look like that happened. Wasn't it Rolling Stone was rumored to be buying it, and then that fell through, it seems like. So interesting times there.
You know, it's a good idea when you're close to bankrupt.
What?
Having less rent coming in. I mean, it's genius.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. A lot of fun behind the channel. Things we can't share here on YouTube. Great stuff over there. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everybody who supports us over there. Mark, we're losing another palace. It's not good for casinos that have palace in the name. It seems like they just go away with time. This time, Poker Palace has been announced to be closing on October 1st. Now, most people have never heard of Poker Palace. It opened in 1974. It's way on North Las Vegas Boulevard. Almost, I mean, not quite out to the Speedway, but way up there. And it's an interesting building. I just happened to be driving by it 2 days ago. So here's some video of the outside. I had my daughter with me, and I wasn't going to subject her to going inside there, and I wasn't going to leave her in the truck. So I didn't get to go inside. I'll try to do that before it closes. But this is also home to the $3.99 all-you-can-eat spaghetti. And we're going to lose that too.
You couldn't eat some spaghetti with her?
We didn't have time. We were just happened to be driving by, and it was there. I was like, oh yeah, that place is closing. I should grab some B-roll.
All you can eat spaghetti for $3.99. This is probably the best deal in Vegas nobody's ever heard of.
You know, I had heard of it over the years, had never really looked much into it. And I went onto YouTube and found a video of this guy who reviewed it, and I'll put a link in the description. And he gave it an 8.5 out of 10, the spaghetti.
It didn't look 8.5 out of 10 to me. It looked like it was like box noodles that they boiled and stuff. But for $3.99, all you can eat. And you even get, like, I saw he got like toast or garlic toast or something with the first order. They don't bring that out each time, but that's impressive. Most people probably only eat one plate, but even one plate, it's a big plate for $3.99. It's a crazy deal.
And you say that, my daughter saw it on the sign and she's like, oh, I want all you can eat spaghetti. Of course, again, we weren't going to stay there, but maybe we'll have to give that a try. And yeah, check out the video. You can see what the spaghetti looks like. I love how he asked him if the garlic bread was all you can eat as well. And the guy said, no, we can't do that. It's only the cheap pasta and sauce. But Poker Plows, I can't wait to go inside. I'll get some video for you guys before it closes so you can see what it looks like. I once sang karaoke there 15, 20 years ago, more. God, I'm old. That's the only time I've ever been in there, and I can say that was quite an experience.
How much do you think their Caesar salad is?
Not $20. So on the last show, we talked about Love, that sign at Venetian Palazzo that was going away. It's been there since 2016, and it was going to be replaced by a quote-unquote activation for the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. By the way, I've seen a lot of negative press this week from people who love the Wizard of Oz, as some of the screen caps and stuff kind of leaked out from the AI version. People were kind of trashing it. So we'll see how it goes in a couple weeks when it opens. But this looks great. This new activation over at Venetian, I love it. I mean, it kind of makes the whole area come to life. They put flowers in, the yellow brick road. This area actually is perfect for all of this.
Yeah, I think it kind of reminds me of Bellagio, you know, how they did it up and everything and tied everything in together. And that one photo that you have from like behind the water feature is shooting straight on, and then they have the waterfall on the Wizard of Oz setup. It looks really beautiful. I think it'll be a great place to take some pictures, especially if you get up earlier, going there late. Nobody's around and stuff, and you can snap a photo. I think it's really cool. Maybe it's too big, like it overtakes the space a lot, which, you know, is a beautiful space in its own right. But I think it's really cool.
It kind of made me think like they should just redo the whole area to Oz. Like a permanent redo. Not that they would do that, or Oz is really tied. And it's funny when you think of MGM Grand in the history there. But yeah, I love it. And I'm excited to see some of the first real reviews, not internet discourse, about what this looks like. A lot of the complaints were about scenes where they were like zoomed in. And there's this one scene where she's talking to the Scarecrow and it's like zoomed into his face in the regular movie. But in the Sphere, they zoomed it way out and it's like a blue sky. And it looks like the 1995 Windows screensaver, you know, the background that had the big blue sky on it. That's what everybody was complaining about. They're saying like the AI failed here. And it is true. It looks very 2025 in that shot. It doesn't look like it was filmed in 1939 with like the Technicolor and stuff. So we'll see. A lot of people are going to have opinions on that, but I love the Venetian, what they did with that activation. I also love 1969, Mark, is when Elvis came to Las Vegas, and the Westgate just celebrated that by bringing the king back to do the original set list from his original show and what they called his original residency. I don't think that word was invented yet.
I do love that Westgate really leans into Vegas and the history of Vegas, and, you know, they do the fun suites and everything. It just seems like they kind of get it, and I feel bad that they don't get maybe the love or admiration that other casinos would get if they did similar things. I know we talk about them all the time, so hopefully people are checking out the property and staying in those rooms. But it is such a cool thing that they lean into the past, especially the past that they have.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot about this. I think when they announced their new Elvis show has come back, and we talked about it maybe 6 months ago, whenever they announced it. And I think they did put this in the announcement, but I hadn't seen any marketing for this or anything until after it was over. And it looked, you know, neat. And he looks pretty good. He looks a lot like Elvis and sounds pretty good. So you can go and see him perform all of different Elvis's songs at the Westgate now. This was sort of the beginning of the show. And I think that was a cool, quirky way to start it off by saying, hey, let's go back to 1969.
Do you think in like 20, 30 years they'll do this, but for Wayne Newton?
I don't even know where Wayne Newton originally appeared. It's funny,
Yeah.
Elvis is so tied to the Hilton, but where was Wayne's, you know, Stardust, I think, was the main place a lot of people know him from the heart of his career. But I bet he was performing all over town in his early days.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to see kind of the maturation of him being the next one that really was the face of Vegas for so long.
So much news this week, but let's close with this, Mark. Let's brag a little bit. We'll talk some weird comps that are going out because of the slowdown in Las Vegas. Let's start with this. I know you're so happy about this. I received 2 free tickets to the Hall of Excellence as a comp from Fontainebleau in my email, not because of who I am, but I'm assuming a lot of members received this. So they're not charging. They're giving it for free now. You should be happy.
Yeah, because what do you think they sold? Over under 7 tickets since it opened. What do you think?
Tom
Under?
Brady has some friends, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they paid. This just shows that nobody wants to pay for it. I'm glad that they did it, but this is the way it should have been in the beginning. Like anybody that is a member of their rewards program should have gotten a pass, at least maybe 2.
Fontainebleau is also trying to attract locals, and I think this is a interesting set of moves here. They're bringing in this daily slot tournament that you can win up to $5,000 every day, or $5,000 is awarded every day. You earn 100 points, you get 1 entry. 500 points get you 2 entries. And I think the grand prize is $2,000, down to 10th place gets $200. So it's a slot entry, but it's every day they're trying to bring people in. There's another promotion going on where you can earn up to $350 in slot credit when you earn 5,000 points. That's in addition to their $20 kicker. If you remember when they relaunched Fontainebleau Rewards a month or 2 ago, if you earn 5,000 points, you're going to be in the slot tournaments. You're getting all this extra free play. And this is, I think, a way for them to get locals to come gamble. And that's another sign that they need the locals, man. They shouldn't have turned their back on them.
Yeah, I think they thought they were too fancy for locals, but especially with their location, you definitely needed to lean more into the locals. Is it too little too late? Maybe, but I'm glad that they finally turned onto this. And this is kind of what you see in a local casino outside of the Vegas area, and maybe even local casinos in Vegas. These are the type of promos that they run in the smaller casinos in, other states. So it's kind of interesting to see this happening, but I think it's a good move on their part, and hopefully it's successful.
Yeah, and if you're looking at 5,000 points earned between now and September, forget about the slot tournaments and everything else. You do earn the $20 kicker. You're earning 350 credit. So if you look at, we'll talk on the next show about advantage players and some interesting articles I've seen about them. But the expected win to you, if you were very disciplined on that, is probably pretty good. Now that's on slots, 2.5 points per dollar. It's different depending on what you play, but certainly they are going all out trying to get people. And my wife received this, very little play on her account. My account had a little bit of play, and then I got sick from the spa, so I didn't get anything great, and we're still getting these offers.
No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it hanging.
All right, and finally, Resorts World with the strangest comp in the world. I received this. Shout out to Alicia on Twitter and a couple other people who said they did. I think this went out to a lot of people. 2 free night comp. I've never received a comp from Resorts World, but the kicker is it's August 11th through 13th or August 24th through 28th. So my first question is, why did they decide to make this so limited? And then are they so empty on just those specific dates that that it's like catastrophic that they need to get people in the hotel? I mean, why just pick these very limited dates a couple weeks from now? By the way, August rate calendars, really, if you want to come to Vegas, this August right now is very cheap across the board.
Outside. Melt along with everybody else.
Well, that's every August, but this one's cheap.
Yeah. I think that just goes to show that the August numbers are going to be real interesting and potentially much worse than what we saw in June.
Yeah, I've been debating all week, like, should I book that? Like, I'm sure that it probably went out to everybody, so you have to think that they probably filled it up pretty quickly. No mention of the resort fee on there. I'm guessing there is a resort fee, but they didn't say no resort fee or pay the resort fee. Offers all over the place. Look for them. Make sure you're opted into your marketing offers, your emails, the apps, whatever you need to do. Check in on your favorite casino programs, because chances are you're going to be seeing something, especially from the Vegas ones. But what will they do next? The final point, we laugh about this stuff, but it's looking really ugly for Resorts World and Fontainebleau. These are 2 properties that didn't need a wider slowdown.
Like I said, it could be too little too late. They should have leaned into this a lot earlier, but hindsight is 2020, even though all of us were saying, they're being jerks and they should they should offer up better deals. If you're looking for value and Vegas has pushed you away because there was no value, this is kind of feeling like 2009, 2010, stuff like that, where we would see it, or even early days of COVID, where they were just like, please come spend some money here. I don't know that service will be at that level. I still think people are kind of like overworked and angry in spots, but I do think that the deals are lining up to what we used to see a long time ago. And that's a little bit exciting, scary at the same time, but you can take advantage.
Yeah, casinos are known to go bankrupt. That has happened in the past. So scary futures could be a thing. I don't think that's going to happen today, but let us know everything that you guys think about what we talked about. What is Vegas, the fall of Rome? Is this the biggest thing ever? Has it been overblown by the media? What do you see in those numbers? that pizza deal at New York, New York. Is it a deal? I really want to know, is it a deal or not? All these expanded comps, everything else we discussed on this super long show. We had to cut several stories out for the next show. Lots of fun stuff coming up on the next one. We do a new show every Tuesday and Friday, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.